Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are taking a step into a new realm of EDC, at least for me, and we're looking at two EDC pens, one in lightweight titanium and the other in solid brass. As you can probably gather if you've watched any of my content, I love my knives and my multi-tools, but in my line of work I go to plenty of places that aren't friendly to carrying those things. So a decent amount of the time my EDC items don't go along with me. Pens, however, can usually go with me just about everywhere that I go. So with that in mind, I wanted to try out an EDC pen to see if it was worth upgrading from just the cheap plastic replaceable pens that I usually use. But I also didn't want to invest a bunch, so because I have a habit of losing pens. So enter SmootherPro with these two pens. So the two that I have here, the first one is a titanium bolt action pen, and this one will run you $37. It is grade 5 titanium, which means it's strong, lightweight, and corrosion resistant. There's a subtle matte finish, as you can see here. There's also a textured grip area here near the tip, which I like because it gives you a good texture and spot to index off of. In addition to the gray titanium here, they also offer this in black or rainbow anodized titanium. I think it's anodized. A bronze finish, which is similar to the bronze pen down here. Also a polished or natural brass. And then they also offer black and gray stainless steel. So they offer a variety, and the price varies based on the material. The titanium is the most expensive, and I believe the brass is the cheapest. And I went for the titanium in this design just for the lightweight and the corrosion resistance. The other pen we have down here is a brass, and you can see this is a little bit different design. It's a little more ornate with the design here and also this area, but it is solid brass, so it is heavier and has a more of a vintage industrial feel. I got what they call the bronze finish. I would say maybe it's almost like an oil rubbed bronze. And this particular one also comes in a polished or natural bronze or natural brass finish as well. And this will wear and patina over time. So the more you use it, the more you run your fingers across it, it'll just kind of change the way that it looks, which I think has a lot of charm. And it also appears to have a glass breaker is what I think this is. It really one of those things that I could give or take, so it really doesn't matter to me, but if that's something you're looking for, that's something to be aware of. So as I mentioned, these are both bolt action mechanisms on the pen. So here is the one on the brass. It is very tactile, very fidgety. That's one of the things I love about these pens is I can fidget. Now, one of the differences is the brass here has a little extra slot here, so you can just kind of flick this back and forth. I think it's for a little bit of extra fidget factor. And then this is where it actually will open and close the pen right there. And you can kind of compare them. This one also doesn't have the extra notch, this titanium design, but you can see the bolt, if you want to call it that, is a lot more proud on the bronze version as opposed to the titanium or bronze finished brass, I guess I should say. But it's a lot more proud. So if you're looking to just, absolute fidget factor, you might like this one a little bit more because it's a lot easier to get your thumb on. But this one isn't hard to actuate at all. And I think this one just feels a little more refined too. I think it's a little bit tighter sprung. I think this is a little looser sprung. Both of them work just fine. It's just kind of a different tactile feel to it. But I am a big fidgeter. I click my pens a lot. So both of these are fantastic for that kind of stuff. So pop it back down here. So talked about the materials, talked about the ergos, but really the big question is, these are pens. How do they write? So I'm going to bring in some paper here and get the titanium one first. It has a very smooth, it's a very smooth writing, very comfortable. You can see it's not skipping. It's not, it doesn't have any spots without any ink. Just a very, very comfortable pen to write with. And we will bring in the brass one. And same deal here. Now this one's a little bit heavier. So if you like a heavier pen when you're writing, if that's more comfortable for you, and also some people kind of prefer the hexagon shape when you're holding it. I'm kind of indifferent to it, but if that's something that you really like, that is a big plus to this one too. But same deal here, very smooth writing, no skipping, no nothing like that. And I'm not going to make you suffer through my horrendous handwriting, so I'm just kind of scribbling on the paper here. But both really, really comfortable to write with, really enjoyable to write with, for sure. And there's no noticeable tip wiggle when it's sticking out like this. You really don't notice the tip of the pen moving at all or anything like that. So both are great pens to write with. And as far as carryability and pocketability, these are both full-size pens. You can see the titanium is a little bit longer than the brass, but I mean, these are both kind of in that range of what I would just consider, you know, typical full-size pens. So if you can carry a typical pen that you would normally carry, you should be able to carry these. Now, each of them has a deep carry pocket clip, but you can see they are two different designs. The titanium, it has two screws that hold it in here. The brass pen actually has one that when you unscrew the back tip here, it actually holds it on there. That cap, or whatever you want to call that, is what actually holds the pocket clip on. And with that being the case, on this one, you can actually adjust where the pocket clip sits. So I have it over here where I like it, but you can put it wherever you want. Well, really, probably just those two spots, but you can kind of adjust it to wherever you want it. So, both of the clips work really well. And actually, one of the things that I noticed, I think if it was up to me, I would have the finish of this pocket clip on this pen and the finish of this one over here. I think those would match a little bit better, but that's just my personal opinion. You might not agree with that. We all have our personal tastes. As I mentioned, the brass is a little bit heavier, so it'll feel a little bit heavier in your pocket. If you're wearing really light clothes, you might notice it in your pocket a little bit more. The titanium is definitely lighter, which is easier for like a light shirt pocket or maybe even like a khakis pocket. Now, I wear khakis to work every day, and I don't notice this really pulling down in my pocket. But if you do notice it, the titanium would be a great option for that. As far as durability and use, I haven't carried these a whole lot. You know, I haven't had them a super long time, but since they are both metal, they should be relatively drop resistant. I know more than once I've dropped a pen and just had it basically explode on me when I drop it. That should not happen with these. And hopefully you won't be abusing your pens too much either. I try not to. But one thing to consider is that the brass will patina over time, and it may also dent if you drop it, because that's just kind of the material that brass is. It's a softer metal. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it kind of gives it cool character, especially when it's more of like an antique looking finish like this. The titanium will definitely be more resistant to that just because of the nature of titanium. Now, as far as refills for the pens, that was probably one of the biggest wins for these. If you're not familiar, the two most common ink refills for pens are Parker refills and Pilot G2 refills. So Parker refills, you can get a lot of places online, but I have not been able to find them anywhere in store. Pilot G2 refills, on the other hand, you can find a lot of places. And you can find them like readily at Walmart. So you can go to Walmart and just pick up refills for both of these pens because they take Pilot G2 refills. And if you want something a little bit different, if you go online, you can actually order on Amazon. You can get blue, purple, green, or red ink for the Pilot G2 as well. So some people like the Parker refills. I'm a big fan of the Pilot G2, like I said, mainly because of the availability. So for me, that's a huge selling point for these. Now, the big question, now that I bought myself some fancy pens, would I do it again, and would I recommend them? Well, at $18 for the brass and $37 for the titanium, I think these are a great value if you're looking for a metal bolt action pen. I haven't tried some of the more expensive options from companies like Refine or Big Idea Design or Tactile Turn, so I can't compare them to those. But as a way to dip your toe into EDC pens without making it a bigger investment, I think these are hard to beat. Now, between the two designs, I definitely prefer the titanium one, and I don't mind using the brass, but I just overall like the more modern styling of the titanium. And actually, they offer this one in the brass with the more antique bronze finish in this. If I were to do this again, I think I would buy this titanium one, and then I would buy the bronze finish brass version of this one, just because I just overall like the design better. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the brass one. The more ornate design and the hex shape, I could kind of give or take. I just don't like it as much, but that's not to say I don't use it. I definitely carry this every once in a while, but I think if I had the brass version of this, I think I'd probably carry it even more. And depending on which design speaks to you and which fits your needs, I think both of them would be great options. So which do you prefer? Do you prefer the titanium or the brass? Or do you think I should have gone with the stainless steel instead? Let me know down in the comments. And if you've tried one of the more expensive EDC pens, maybe one that I mentioned, or if there's another brand out there that I'm not familiar with, let me know down in the comments so I can check them out. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please consider leaving a like and subscribing so that I can keep bringing you more content like this. And until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next video.